Well, Kaylee, thank you so much for being here with me on the Entrepreneurial Success Podcast. And like I said, I always love talking to individuals like yourself, and I think we're going to have a great conversation for numerous reasons. But before we dive into all the good stuff, why don't I hand over to you so you can introduce yourself to the audience and tell us who you are and what you do?
Yeah, absolutely. So thank you. It is so wonderful to be here. And yeah, I can't wait. I just know this is going to be an amazing conversation. So I'm Kaylee. I like to refer to myself as a wealth energetics mentor. I mostly help women in business to create more money with ease, to create that money and wealthy lifestyle and living with ease and with comfort by helping them to transform their money mindset and master on an energetic level who they are as the wealthiest version of them.
Yeah, yeah. And this is why I think this conversation is going to be so powerful today, in particular, because when we talk about money mindset, when we talk about us as being business owners, obviously money plays a huge role, not just in business, but also in our personal lives. But there are so many blocks around it. So I love the
Yeah.
fact that we're going to dive into this. But tell me, how did you get started? How did you start becoming a money mindset coach? I mean, what did that journey look like for you? Like I always say, it's not just we just wake up one day and go, that's it, I'm going to do this thing and this is going to be my business. So, what was your journey
I
like?
wish. Yeah, my journey was a very, very interesting one. And I suppose it makes sense to tell you that from the age of 18 until maybe 5 years ago, I would say, I lived my life pretty carefree. I decided I wanted something, I made it happen. I lived abroad, I traveled, I tried so many different careers. I loved all of them. I was just fueled by this excitement that there was more out there. That I just had this feeling, and I remember it so vividly. The first time I realized, I was probably 16 in a psychology class. My psychology tutor asked me where I wanted to be in 5 years, 10 years, 20 years. And I was like, that's a really strange question. How am I supposed to know that? I had no idea. So I don't know. The world's big. The opportunities are endless. I don't know. And I was like the only one in the class that didn't have an answer. And so I realized maybe I was wired a bit differently. Maybe I could see the world in a slightly different way. So anyway, I went out and created just an amazing life that I really loved. Um, and then I don't know, something changed in my mind, and I was like, oh gosh, you're in your early 30s now. It's time to get serious. So off I went and I trained in personal finance. I moved to Milan into a very corporate environment. I loved it. I was always fascinated by money and money management, and I always had investments from when I was young, from when I was even really young, and I loved watching my money grow, and I was fascinated by all of that. So it made sense that that was where I was going. And it just so happened that COVID came like 6 months into my new career. And I was in the center of Milan. So I was in the epicenter of everything. And I ended up back at home at my mum's house for the first time since I was 17 years old. And we had an awesome time. And we were spending our days loving life as I always had done. And when I went back to Italy, something just felt off. That 18-year-old voice that kept coming back in and telling me that there's more to life than this. Like you don't, there's no such thing as having to go back to normal life. Like what is normal life? I'd never prescribed to that vision of life before. So why was I suddenly doing it now? And because I was a Brit in Europe, Brexit also played a role. And by the end of 2022, I had to make a decision which country I was going to be in order to get residency. And my husband was really struggling to get work in Italy. we were just really struggling for the first time in our lives. Nothing felt aligned, nothing felt comfortable. And so we decided to come back to France. And I remember sitting at my desk one day. It was snowing. I live in the Alps, so it was winter season. And it was just this like pristine new blanket of snow, untouched. And I was like, oh, this is a metaphor for me now. Like I've got all this opportunity, but I just didn't know what to do with it. I had this massive realization that I'd spent all my life running from what I didn't want, but I never really knew what it was that I did want. So I jumped into the world of personal development. I got a mindset coach. I myself went through a process called an NLP personal breakthrough, and it changed everything. And part of that process unlocked an instinctive knowing that it was my mission to help women understand money in a different way, to not be
Mm.
afraid of it, to know that actually at an energetic level, money is very feminine, it's very playful, it's joyful. And so I launched my business and it's just been like incredible ever since. Within 3 months, I quit every other little job that I had. And yeah, it's just been incredible.
Oh my gosh. I honestly, I love your story because I think a lot can be taken from it. I've spoken to so many people after COVID that said that their lives were turned around from COVID. Some people unfortunately had negative experiences, but then a positive outcome. And some people
Yeah.
had positive outcomes from it. So it's not a bad thing to have something externally happening that is going to drive you into another,
Oh,
how can I say, another
absolutely.
onto another journey in another
Yeah.
direction.
Mm. I think it, for a lot of people, made them very aware how fragile life was. And it was almost the catalyst that I needed to remind myself of the 18-year-old me and how she just lived her life based on what she felt was right and the instinct. There was none of this pressure from it from
Yeah.
society or anybody as to what I should be doing with my life. And yet the reason I found myself in Milan and in finance was because I'd suddenly started thinking like that. Like I woke up one day and suddenly thought, oh, you're in your 30s now, you better start, I say normal, and I always do it in inverted commas because what is normal, but
Yeah.
societal normal, I started feeling like, oh, I better get serious.
Yeah.
And I kind of that message unfortunately comes from my dad. I remember him saying, when are you going to get serious? And we internalize those things and you never know when they're going to pop up.
Yeah, no, 100%. And I think we all feel like that. And even for the listeners now, I mean, if all of us think back to when we were 18, 19, the world was our oyster. We felt we could do anything, it was an adventure.
Yeah,
And we didn't think about the responsibilities and all those kind of things. But there always will come a point where we hit that age, whatever that age is for you, where you go like, time to get
mm.
serious. Where do I go from here? But then I
Yeah,
think also there's this awakening realization. And I think a lot of people who started their businesses in particular would have come to a point in their life where they go, where am I going with this? I need to do more. Life is more. There's more out there
yeah,
for me. And the majority of the times that leads individuals in order to go on their own journey, as an example, starting a business. And I know for the
absolutely.
majority of my audience, they would resonate with that because they are business owners or are now on that exploratory journey of how can I do this?
Okay, yeah.
What I love about what you talk about is the money mindset. Now,
Mhm.
this phrase, this term has been going around for numerous years, but from your perspective and from your experience, what does money mindset mean to you?
Good question. Because yeah, I too have heard lots of different people talk about it, and it means lots of different things to lots of different people. For me, money mindset is really, in a holistic sense, everything we believe and everything that we value about money, or don't believe or don't value about money. And it's these sets that, to be quite frank, are usually not even our own, that, especially with women, that stop us from taking risks, stop us from trusting ourselves. It's not that long ago that women weren't even allowed bank accounts. So we're not just dealing with our own experiences of money in this world, in this life that we're in now, but as women, as a collective feminine energy, we're dealing with generations of, you know, financial trauma and just not even being allowed to have money and touch money. And so all of those beliefs and the values that society places on who should handle money or how money's handled or who money's for, more importantly, is really encompasses what makes up our money mindset. And it's that mindset that quite often can be the barrier to where it where we are financially now and where it is that we want to go or where we're trying to get to.
Exactly. And I've seen this happen for so many men and women. Let's face it, it goes for both. But I think because we are women, because the majority of my audience tend to be women in business, it is a thing, it is an obstacle. And
It
I
is.
think this beautifully leads into the second element. You know, you talk about wealth energetics, where if we just realize that money is actually just energy.
Yeah. Not
So,
only is money energy, the energetic signature of money is gratitude.
yes,
Like,
yes.
it's flow, it's joy, it's fun. And that is the total opposite. And, from somebody who's worked in a corporate finance world, there is none of those things. The physical management of money, none of those things are present in corporate finance. And yet that is the physical energy of money.
Yeah, yeah. And I think, one of the things before we started this conversation, you also mentioned, when you talk about wealth energetics, it's about who you are being. And I think this is powerful because I always talk about client attraction, and it's all to do
Mm.
with energy, but the
Oh,
same principle applies for money attraction.
absolutely.
And I think this is where you said something beautiful before we started this recording. Is about you helping your clients understanding about who you are being. And I said that I might have something that resonate with this. So when I talk to my clients about client attraction as an example,
Yeah.
we always have this principle about this concept and idea, and I'm going to use client attraction as an example, but the same principle works for money. People always come to me and say, well, first I need to have clients. And once I have these clients, I can start doing the things that I need to do in my business in order to become successful. And I said to them, here's the thing, you've got it the wrong way around. First and foremost, you've got to be and become and start becoming who you want to be. And that energy, that flow, that mindset shift is going to start helping you to think about the things that you need to do.
Yeah.
And then you will start having the clients you want.
Absolutely.
And money attraction, law of attraction, whatever you call it, at the end of the day, it's
Whatever you're
exactly the same
attracting.
principle. Same principle.
Yeah. Absolutely. And it goes to Zig Ziglar's Be Do Have.
Yeah.
And it's such, that the idea of who will you be, what will you do, and what will you have is such a backbone to so much coaching. So many people use that structure in helping others, but it's so much harder to do
Yeah.
ourselves. And I work with a lot of other coaches, a lot of very spiritual people, a lot of very connected people. And it's almost as though energetically they make a decision to serve others, and in doing so, they put themselves at the bottom
Mm.
and forget to show up and be the best version of them. Because in order to have what it is that you want to have, you first have to know who the version of you is that has that. Because it can't be the version of you that you are now, because the version of you that you were 5 minutes ago is different to the version of you that you are now.
Yeah.
And so then we have to understand that the version of you that is going to listen to this episode, you're going to be different by the end of it. And so we have to connect to who it is that we want to be and how we want to carry ourselves in the world and how we want people to feel around us. And then we have to bring that into the now. And one of the biggest things I share is we have to stop being on a journey to something and just make the decision that this is who I am,
Yeah.
embodying that best version of us, that wealthiest version of us, and connecting energetically and emotionally to what it is that we're working towards.
Yes. And you just said something really powerful there, which personally I resonate with as well. You said, even after this episode, people will be different from who they
Yeah,
are now. And I think that is key right there, because if we talk about who do you want to be, instinctively we think about a year from now, we think about time, year from now, 2 years from now, 5 years
yeah,
from now. But let's make it easy. And like you said, 5 minutes from now.
yeah. Who do you
Who
want
do
to
you want to be
be
five
when you
minutes
wake
from
up
now?
every morning?
Who do you want to be when you wake up every morning? Who do you want to be when you have lunch? When you
Yeah,
have dinner tonight? And I think if we kind of break it down a little bit more towards the now, it makes our
absolutely.
brain a bit easier to think of that concept rather than that untouchable thing that feels so far in the future.
100%. Yeah. And it's the law of attraction gets spoken about so much in the world of manifesting, in the world of attraction, as you were saying, the same concept for client attraction. It works with money attraction. It works with attracting a perfect partner. It's the same concept, but so overlooked is is the energy side of it. It's not just about what we tell ourselves with our mind that we're going to attract. It's the law of vibration.
Yes.
And the law of vibration is how we are being. You don't, and I think this is perhaps one of the things that is most misunderstood about energetics, is that you don't attract what you desire with what you do. You attract what you desire with who you're being.
Yes.
It, it's
Yes.
not it's not in the to-do list. It's in the person that's showing up to tackle that to-do list and the way that you do it, and just bringing all of that abundance and just choosing to live in abundance now.
Yeah.
Just be that person now, because no, nothing can stop you. It's a choice.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. And it's funny that you're saying that, because I had a conversation with somebody yesterday and we were talking about vibrations. And funny enough, we were talking about attracting money in particular. And she kindly said to me, I try and manifest, but it never feels like it's working. And the one reply that I said to her is, yes, but are you trying to manifest money, attracting money from an energy of desperation, meaning
Yeah,
you've got a low vibration? Or do you put yourself in a state of high vibration? In other words, the highest vibration you can have is a vibration of gratitude, which you mentioned earlier. And
yeah,
once you're in that high vibration of gratitude and you're feeling good, you're feeling and being in a state of high vibration, that's the point then to start manifesting.
absolutely. Absolutely. You can't, and it one of the very first concepts that I learned when I was introduced into the world of neurolinguistics is the idea of perception is projection.
Yes.
And that is exactly what that is. You
Yeah.
you cannot manifest or attract from a place of lack, because you're not perceiving the outside world. You're projecting what's inside you out. And so you can write down in a journal as much as you like that you want to receive this and this is what you want your life to look like. But if it's coming from a place of desperation and lack, energetically, that's what the universe is going to deliver back. You're not going to be
Yeah.
able to see all of the opportunity that's around you because it is there. You just have to be vibrating at the right frequency in order to see it.
Yes. And I love that because this is something that was very powerful for me as well. On the subject of money attraction, is that somebody said to me, the opportunities are always there.
Mm.
You just need to see them. And my
Yeah.
question was, well, how do you see them? Get on the high vibrations. And,
Yeah.
you know, we all love a little bit of Beach Boys, high vibrations. But if you think about that song, put yourself in high
Yeah.
vibrations, put yourself in a good mood all the
Yeah.
time. Be grateful because the more you experience that, the more you will start attracting not just money, you will start attracting those opportunities and they
Yeah.
will come in a flood. And
Yeah.
you'll be so
Absolutely.
surprised thinking, where did this come from? How did this happen? It just happened out of the blue, as people say,
Yeah.
between inverted commas.
Yeah.
But these things do happen. And this is why I
Yeah.
said, I know that today's conversation between us is going to be so powerful and so many people are going to get amazing aha moments from it. But the point that I know you want to make is come from a point of being first, get into those high vibrations. And if you want
Yeah.
to practice it, practice being grateful because as soon as you set yourself in these high
Absolutely.
vibrations, that's your point to start manifesting. Whether it's money, clients, business opportunities, a personal
Gratitude
relationship.
is the perfect place to
Yeah.
start.
Yeah.
If you can be grateful and if you can start practicing gratitude in the hardest of situations,
Yes.
that's when things will really change.
Yeah.
If you can look at challenges and be like, okay, what did I learn from this? Like, how has this helped me grow? And find that gratitude everywhere. Honestly, it will feel like things are just falling out of the sky.
Yeah.
And it gets to be that joyful, it gets to be that effortless. And I think that message of being is so often missing for start out entrepreneurs and people in business because we can often be so focused on the strategy and if the strategy is not working, I see so many people like jumping ship and I'll try this strategy and then that doesn't work, I'll try this strategy. And one of my messages to people is like, how do you know what strategy is going to work for you until you know who you want to be and how that fits?
Yes.
Because any strategy will work if it fits with you energetically. But instead of figuring out who you're being first, so many people are trying to try out all of these strategies, and then it just leads to a massive place of frustration and confusion. Like I've tried all of these things and nothing's working. Like, what did you say? Where's that coming from? You're trying a new strategy from a place of fear, from a place of lack, not
Yes.
from a place of this strategy is going to work for me. I'm going to do
Yes.
this and it's going to lead to this and it's going to be amazing.
Oh my
It's
gosh,
all about being.
it feels like you're copying literally word for word what I say to my clients. So now that everybody understands that when we talk about the law of attraction, when we talk about being in a high vibration and then
Mm-hmm.
start manifesting from there, it is also crucial to kind of think about what it is that you want to manifest. And I think this is
Absolutely.
what you wanted to share with us about aligning your financial goals with what it is that you want to achieve in your business. So it's great
100%.
to get that now from an energetic level, going, okay, I understand how I need to manifest and what it is that I need to do. But you can't just walk in and start manifesting whatever. You need to have a goal, you need to be aligned with that goal. So,
Yeah.
what is it that you normally tend to share with people about how to get into that state of knowing this is what I want?
Yeah. I mean, first thing is knowing why. It's such an important question. One of the biggest steps that I encourage people to take in aligning their financial goals with their vision is understanding why. Because if we don't truly understand why, and we just use the whys that seem acceptable socially and, to
Yes.
our friends and family, then there's no true alignment there. And it's so important to have really concrete goals, which is in slight contrast to something else I want to share in a bit. But it is really important to have concrete financial goals. Money loves to know that it has a purpose.
Mm.
So if we're out there, we understand how to attract money now, we understand how to raise our vibration and how to be in the energy of wealth, and we're out there manifesting money, but we don't really know what it is we want to do with it. And believe me, it'll find a way to flow out of your life just as quickly as it flows in.
Yes.
If we don't have a purpose for it, if we don't have those goals, and if we don't have those goals that are actually well and truly aligned to you. I speak to so many people that say, I just want to have enough.
Mm.
But what does that look like to you? Because enough to one person might be a private jet and a yacht and 7 houses. Enough to another person might be a house in the countryside with stables and horses. Enough to the next person might be a flat in central London or New York. What's enough? If you tell the universe that all you want is enough, you will really struggle to create anything of any stability, because what comes in will find a way to go out
Yeah.
unless you have a really structured goal and vision for where you want that money to go and what you want it to be for. You end up in what I often refer to as a lifestyle loop, where your
Yeah.
income will go up and your expenses go up, and your income will go up and your expenses will go up, and so you're creating the appearance of money, you're creating the appearance of wealth, but you're still living in that fear and lack,
Mm.
because you're not creating wealth around you, you're not building your assets, you're not giving all of the different facets of your income and your money a purpose.
Yes. And as you were saying that, the one of the key things that most people come to me with when I talk about client attraction is the simple phrase about I struggle to get clients and I normally go through this feast or famine phase. Some months are good, 2 or 3 months, I don't get any clients. And some months are good. And the same principle applies for money. So we
Absolutely.
will make that money, whether through business or even just by being employed. But you will
Yep,
find then that once you make that money, you spend it as quickly as you make it.
absolutely.
So it's not just about us understanding the principle of manifesting and attracting money, it's about understanding what is the goal with that. And I always
Yeah.
see, if I talk about money energy, I say infinity sign.
Yeah,
There's always, it comes
absolutely.
in and it goes out and it comes in. And you need to allow that flow, but it is understanding that when it comes in, what are you going to do with it in order to
Yeah,
go out?
yeah,
Yes, you got to pay your expenses. Yes, we got to pay our taxes. Yes, we got to live off it. But there's so much more to it. And this
yeah.
is where the logic side has to come in a little bit.
Absolutely. We have to bring back that divine masculine energy. We have
Exactly.
to
And
welcome that back in and do a bit of, I mean, people tell me it's the boring, planning. I love it. I've got a spreadsheet for everything. Uh, so, but we have to bring it back down
yeah,
into that divine masculine and balance out those energies. Because if we're only in a place of attraction, as you say, that flow, it's going, instead of being in an infinity type style, it's like a river,
yeah,
and it's coming in and it's coming and it's not coming back round. We're not
yes,
actively allowing our money to work for us,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know? I heard something really beautiful on a podcast I was listening to a few weeks ago from quite a young woman. I think she was 23, 24. And she said one of the things that changed her view of spending money and bills was that idea of putting it back into circulation. And I loved that when I
Yes.
heard that. That I was like, yes, like it's something
Mm.
I've done almost instinctively my whole life, but hearing somebody word it that way, I was like, it that's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
It's knowing how you're going to circulate your money so that it works for you, so that you can actually build abundance around you,
Yeah.
so
It
that you
is.
can be comfortable.
Yeah. And it starts, like you said, with simple planning. I've got a financial advisor, and one of the tips she gave me when I started my business, which was one of the best things I've ever done, is she said that, whenever you're getting money in, clients signing up, working with you, always take a percentage of that and put it into a separate account and let that account grow. So whether it's through interest or anytime you get a payment, a client investing in you, take a percentage of it, put it in that account. And that account then is like your nest egg, if I can call it that.
Yeah,
So if you do go
absolutely.
through, or if you do experience a feast or famine phase, but then when you have some quiet months, you are not desperate. You are not freaking out because
You're
you've
not
got your
going
nest egg.
in and out of that lack, scarcity, abundance mindset. You're
Exactly.
able to stay
Maintain it.
consistently, yeah,
Exactly. Exactly.
100%.
And that was one of the best decisions I've ever made when I did that specifically financially, but also um, I think the beauty there that I learned is exactly like you said. Instead of having, hey, life is amazing, this is great. Oh crap, excuse
Yeah,
my language. And then go and doing everything at that point from an energy of lack, energy of
yeah,
desperation. And then it is
absolutely.
so hard again to turn that energy around. And when you turn that energy around, you go like, oh my gosh, life is amazing again, just to find that it drops again. And this is
Absolutely.
that up and down, the feast of famine effect that most of us work from, especially in our businesses. But
Yeah,
instead, understand that when you are logic about it and you have a
yeah,
plan, you can maintain that energy and even grow it in a nice
yeah.
way.
Yeah,
Getting the
it's so true, and it is the first thing that anybody that has been able to build any wealth or build their own wealth with very little, I, as a young, 20 something year old, didn't wasn't making a lot of money. I was living in Egypt, so I definitely wasn't making a lot of money. Um, but building those habits, you can build those habits no matter what you're earning. I have a very strong conviction that I can make anybody wealthier with what they already have
yeah.
because it's just a choice. And that's where aligning your financial goals come in. Like, why are you in business? What do you want to achieve? Because if you want to achieve that, putting away 20% of everything that comes in is going to help you get there. If you want to go and celebrate and spend 100% of a high ticket client that signs with you on a holiday, is that aligned with your long-term goals, or do you need to maybe ask yourself a question?
Yeah.
Because I think it can be so easy to fall into that, yay, everything's going amazing, and be in that mindset that it's always going to be like this. So it doesn't matter if I spend it. And I work with so many people that started off their business and had that amazing launch and made considerable, five figures, some even six figures within their first 12 months. And then it peters off. And then they're at a point where they're having to consider going back to work. And I'm like, but you made six figures. Where is it? And I ask them, what are your business expenses? And you add them up, and it's not even 10% of that for a year. If they'd have saved 50% of the money that came in, they could have run their business for the next 5 years. So it's about understanding what those goals are and aligning your actions and the actions within your business and personally with those goals.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think this is a beautiful example of how the energy element, but also the logic,
Yeah,
needs to walk hand in hand. You can't
absolutely.
just have the one and not the other.
No, you definitely can't. And yeah, my experience in the corporate finance world, there was a lot of money wealthy people, shall we say, that weren't living wealthy lives, and the next big change had happened, or the next promotion, and instead of building their wealth and putting money aside, they'd be ringing me and saying, I need to take a chunk out because we're getting a bigger house. Because with the promotion has to come the appearance of the promotion.
Yeah.
And so it really is understanding both and
Yeah.
being able to marry them together in in harmony in order to be consistent and experience that consistency and that comfort
Yes.
rather than that feast and famine cycle.
And I think that beautifully leads also into what it is that you wanted to share about, you said enjoying the journey, but also being disconnected from the outcome.
Yeah. Which in essence contradicts what I was just saying about having financial goals. We have to have them. We have to
Yeah.
have them. We have to set them. And something that I do with my clients is make like a 5-year plan, a 10-year plan. So what would your life look like with six figures a month? Like, what does that look like? Where would you live? What would your expenses be? Like, look at it. What does your life look like? The problem is, if we become too attached, we start operating from that place of lack again. We start operating from that place of fear, of control, of I have to keep going because this has to be my life. Whereas if we bring the energy back in again, we create this beautiful picture of what our future will be, whether we start small and we just do 3 months from now and then a year and we build up, what does your dream life look like? And then I get people to feel it. Who is that version of you? How do you feel every time you get up out of bed every morning? What do you look like? How do you look different perhaps to how you look now? Do you dress different? Is your hair different? What are you doing every day? How do you feel? Who are you surrounded by? And then connect to that feeling rather than the physicality of what it is that you want to create. That allows the journey to be so fun because you're moving towards that feeling, but it also opens up the possibility and the opportunity for that vision to change.
Yes.
If we're so fixated on an outcome and it doesn't turn out the way that we wanted it to, even if the outcome is better for us, we convince ourselves that we've lost out and we go
We're
back to that
disappointed.
place of lack. Yeah, when we've got nothing to be disappointed about.
Yeah.
So when we connect and we bring it back round again to the energy, we're moving from a place of how we want to feel, how we want to be, and it opens up all of the possible opportunities for how you can get there. Because we would all like to think from where we are now that it will be this business and maybe exactly this version of your business that you want to be in 10 years time. But if you get so fixated on that and something gets in the way, we just create disappointment for ourselves when perhaps the outcome would be even better.
Yes.
So embracing that journey, and the only way you can embrace the journey is to come from a place of energy and enjoyment and disconnecting from those very important goals that you do need to set yourself.
Yeah. Because I think with part of the goal setting, it's about having an idea of where you're
Yeah.
going to. And that gives you the clarity on going, okay, I see where it is that I want to go to. And from a logic perspective, I get that clarity about what it is that I need to physically do.
Yeah.
talking about the be, do, have. But
Yeah.
the being starts from being aligned with that goal and also understanding that don't be connected to that outcome or at least feel that whatever the outcome is, it will be a version of that, if not better. And in
Yeah.
most cases, it will be better if you're aligned
Yeah.
with it.
100%. Because it can't be anything else than
Apart from
better.
what you make it.
Yeah. And if you're coming from a place of joy and possibility and abundance, it literally can only get better.
Yes.
There's no limit. There's literally no limit. And I feel like that's something a lot of people struggle with as well, is understanding that there's no limit, but there isn't.
Yeah.
And so the only limit that we place on ourselves is by being so fixated on that physical thing, the physical goal. One of the really cool ways that you can disconnect really specifically from your outcome is, I love to tell my clients, when you're making goals, whether you're scribing, whether you're writing in a journal, however you like to put your goals down, is never ever forget to add or more or better.
I love that. That
Because
is
when we limit,
brilliant.
yeah, when we limit up, what we don't realize is when we're saying, within the next 12 months, I want to be making six figures in my business. Sometimes we have very specific goals. So I want to make $125,000 next year, say. When we make that goal, what happens is we tell our subconscious mind that that's safe. So 125,000 is safe for us. So you'll start to get close to it and you'll start to pull back.
Mm-hmm.
The reality is, if you add or more to that, you're telling your subconscious mind that more is safe. So you won't pull back. And the only outcome is going to be more because
Yes.
it's safe for you to have more. So being careful, setting goals is amazing. And we have to have those figures. Absolutely, we do. We have to know from a practical level what we're working towards and where our money needs to be funneled and how we want it to flow. But when we're setting our goals on an energetic level, it's so important to add that or more or
Yeah.
better, because it keeps the doors open for things that we haven't even thought of yet.
No, honestly, I knew today was going to be a great conversation, but just going through this and I feel that even though you and I have gone through this conversation, I would want to go and listen back to it again because there's so much of what you
Oh,
said that I feel could resonate with me. And I would highly encourage every single one of you who's listened to this episode, go and listen to it again because you will pick up more things the more you listen to this. With everything that I find Kaylee has shared, I resonate with it, but I feel that there's so much more in this that I need to go back through and listen to it again. And I think for some of you, this might actually be a game changer. But let's help everybody here who feels that they need a little bit more support while they're going on their own journey with financial mindset, with the money mindset. You also have something that you call the Secret to More Money Masterclass. Tell us a
I
little
do
bit about the
indeed.
masterclass and what people can expect from it.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's I'm going to say 90-minute masterclass. It's a bit shorter than that, but 90 minutes. And it's not your average money making masterclass. It's not what you would expect. I hope you understand that from everything that I've already shared. But we really delve into what it is that is behind your money mindset. And I delve into my personal money energetic system. So you get to see a little bit into the world of what I do with my clients and those two most important topics, which are our money mindset and our wealth energetics.
Yes, yes. And like I said, I think we've kind of beautifully set it out together today. Like there's the energetic side, there's also the logic side, but one can't live without the other. And it's understanding
Absolutely.
what that fine line is between the two of them and understanding what that balance is that you need to maintain in your life.
Absolutely.
So I feel that the masterclass is definitely going to tap on some of those things, but also help everybody here listening just to kind of really now putting it into practice And I think
Yeah,
that is key. That's key. So for those of you listening, the link to that masterclass will be in my show notes. By all means, go and have a look at it. I always say you've got nothing to lose, but everything to gain at the end of the day, because knowledge is key, not just from this episode, but I feel if you also want to go and talk to Kaylee, by all means, reach out to her. All her social media details will be in the show notes, as well as her website. So get in touch, have a conversation with her. I'm sure she'd be more than happy to chat with you, see where you're at now, and then also touch upon
definitely.
some of these things to kind of help you through that process. I've got a great feeling about today's episode. I mean, I'm just on a buzz at the moment. I feel I want to say so much more, but let's keep it nice. Let's keep it
Yes,
sweet,
not
because
too overwhelming.
otherwise, yeah, we don't want to overwhelm everybody.
Definitely
So
not.
honestly, Kaylee, this has been, I think, not just for the audience, but I think personally for me, I've taken quite a fair bit of what it is that you
Mm,
shared here. So thank you so much for
thank
the time.
you.
Thank you so much for all the golden nuggets that you shared here with all of us. And yeah,
You're
gosh, we'll
so
be in touch
welcome.
very soon again.
Yeah, it's been an absolute honor. And anybody out there that's helping female entrepreneurs to, take control of their business and make more money,
All
kindred
for it.
spirits. Yeah,
Yes,
absolutely.
agreed. Oh, bless you. Well, thank you again. Stay well, keep in touch, and appreciate you so much. Thank you.